Hey guys, it's Dragon Ball for Life here. Today I want to talk about why GT is kind of dumb. Now, when I'm talking about GT, I'm talking about not only the show itself, but the writing as a whole. I think the entire concept of Dragon Ball GT, it did have some good concepts here and there, but as a whole, it was kind of bad. A lot of times when you hear people talk about GT, they say they had good ideas but terrible execution, which I somewhat agree with. I do think a lot of their ideas weren't that great to begin with, but I can see the point there. But still, I feel like when people say this, they don't really go too in depth to explain what they mean by that. They just say that and they're like, well, that's it. So I want to go into that and explain a lot of things and reasons why I felt it was dumb and kind of disappointing to watch GT, and why I felt like it should be canceled. It deserved to be canceled because of the writing itself. And before I get into that, I do want to talk about my gaming channel, Platinum Master Gaming. Guys, go check it out. I know I've been mentioning it quite a bit, but it's just because I'm very excited about that channel. I'm very proud about it. I've been uploading constantly on that channel. I know I haven't been tending to this channel as much. It's because the ideas and concepts I need for these, it does take quite a bit of time, and also I don't want to just throw out any video for you guys. I want to throw out videos that has some substance behind it. So I want to make videos for you guys that you guys will enjoy. So that's why I want to do that. So yes, once again, go check out my gaming channel, Platinum Master Gaming. You can check it in the channel's listing, and you can go there. So go like, share, comment, subscribe to that channel too. So yeah, that's it for that. Let's get back to the video itself. Now, talking about GT, the reason why I hated GT was many things. One thing that in particular a lot of people mention is the fact that they turned Goku back to a child, which I do agree that was a dumb decision, and I'm pretty sure they knew that it was a dumb decision too, because they just made Goku turn into an adult when he went Super Saiyan 4, which never really made sense to me how he would turn into from a kid to an adult just by transforming. But they did it because obviously it doesn't seem right to see him as a kid all the time. But yeah, I did not like the idea that they made him a child. When they did, I thought they were going to just make him a child for like at least the first arc, then fix him back to his adulthood. But nope, they kept him as a child throughout the entire show, which it really irked me. But I do feel like the fans stick onto that a little too much. I get it, it's very dumb, but I feel like that wasn't the biggest problem. There was a ton of problems with GT, and just to say specifically focus on that kind of negates all the other problems that they had in the show itself. And that's why I wanted to make this video, because I feel like a lot of people, when they do talk about it, they don't go as in depth about the problems, or maybe sometimes they don't have a problem with some certain things that I do. So that's why I want to talk about it from my own personal opinion. So let's talk about the first arc, which I think was called a Black Star Dragon Ball arc. This one was one of the worst arcs ever. I'm pretty sure this is my least favorite arc of all. This is even I hate this arc more than anything that happened in Super. It was absolutely boring. It was stupid. It was unnecessary. A lot of stuff in it didn't make sense, and I want to go into why I hated it so much. First of all, majority of it was just them going to random planets, doing really barely anything. There was no real connection. Yes, they were getting Dragon Balls, but at this point, we don't care about them collecting Dragon Balls anymore. It's like, yeah, that was something in like Dragon Ball, but like we passed Z, so that really doesn't matter. Also, a lot of these planets were full of weak creatures. There was no real story behind it, and they felt like they were rehashing already story ideas they had back in Dragon Ball. I mean, they redid the whole thing with the monster liking younger girls, or like taking girls, and then they had to one of the guys had to pretend to be girls. The other one, it was Goku. This time it was Goku and Trunks. They were pretending to be women to take him. I was like, really? And then they had that big ear creature, which he was pathetic too. There was just so many stuff about it that it was just boring. First of all, a lot of the fights were pathetic. It was just rehashing what happened in Dragon Ball to just gain the fans from Dragon Ball, which was kind of a lazy move in my part. But they did all these pathetic things just to gain attention and to get people to watch it. I just didn't like it. I felt like it was all dumb, especially the Power Brothers. That was the most cringiest thing I've ever seen in Dragon Ball. I don't want to ever see that again. We also had the fight against that one big metal creature and that weird monkey guy that was turned Pan into a doll and he was being weird. It was bad all around. There was nothing I found entertaining about it. I was like, can they just move on, get into the next one? And they did set up for the baby arc pretty decently well, which was a lot better, but that arc itself was terrible, and especially as an introduction to a show, I think it was one of the weakest introductions to any show possible, and that is a very, very bad thing to have for your story, because you want to draw them on into attention in the first few episodes. The fact that you had a whole arc that was trash is kind of bad. But let's get into the whole beginning of it. The Peel-Off gang first get there, and they get their hands on the Black Star Dragon Balls, and they're trying to wish to be younger, but then Goku comes in and then they wish and make him younger. Now, a couple of things with this. One, I absolutely hate the Peel-Off gang. I think they're boring. I know they're OG classics from Dragon Ball, but I absolutely despise them. I hate them. They're so boring. Even, I know now they brought them back also in Super, but at least in Super, they had like kind of like minor roles, and they didn't really make such a big change in it. Because in this one, they made the biggest change by making Goku a child. If it wasn't for them wishing that, he wouldn't have became a child in the first place. And I also don't like seeing them in Super anyway, but they at least did something with them, like with Mai and Trunks. They did something with that. This one, it was just unnecessary. Also, how did they get to the lookout? Last time I checked, get into the lookout, they said not even spaceships can fly up there, which I guess Bulma did, but still, it seems weird that he got up there and nobody noticed it. Also, they found these Black Star Dragon Balls, which we've never seen before, never heard about it. Goku didn't even know about it, and he lived there for 3 years before. None of them knew about it. And these Black Star Dragon Balls have been hidden there, but it wasn't that concealed that well. And I have a couple problems with the Black Star Dragon Balls. One, how come Bulma's, Dragon Radar never picked them up? And maybe they had some different energy signature, but I highly doubt it. The Namekian Dragon Balls were different too, yet they could still pick up the signature. So I just feel like the fact that she couldn't, the Dragon Radar never picked up the signature is kind of, a plot hole. Also, the Black Star Dragon Balls, they were just pulled out of Toei Animation's butt. Let's be honest. This was never in the story before. It was never mentioned in Dragon Ball or Dragon Ball Z. Now randomly GT just starts and we have these new Dragon Balls. I felt like that was it was dumb in my opinion, because we just reintroduced a new set of Dragon Balls out of nowhere, and we're just supposed to act like, well, this was always here, and maybe just it was stated off screen. I think Goku also didn't know. And the Black Star Dragon Balls are also kind of dumb. It only gives you one wish, and it scatters across the universe, and then it also destroys the planet you're on. A lot of people said that this is a cool concept because it adds on this and that. But let's talk about a couple of reasons why this doesn't make any sense for the Black Star Dragon Balls to be there. For one, like I said, it was never mentioned, so this is obviously an ass pull. Two, if you think about it, how are they still around? I mean, who created the Black Star Dragon Balls? It definitely couldn't be Kami. There's no way Kami is that powerful to create them. I mean, the original Dragon Balls, he had barely, they were powerful, but they had a lot of limitations. You can only wish on it once, and once when Dende came in, they got 3 wishes. So Dende was obviously the better one when it came to crafting the Dragon Balls, or magically creating them or whatever, whereas he wasn't that strong. So how was he able to create Dragon Balls this powerful to destroy a planet and scatter across the entire universe? So he had to have created. Who else could have? It's not like Dende would. Also, what would be the need of this one? Of you already have a set of Dragon Balls that can do the same thing, but maybe to a less of an extent, but at least it's far less dangerous than it destroying the planet and being scattered across the universe, which would be even harder to track down. So that didn't make sense. Also, due to the fact that it technically, they wouldn't be active, since when Piccolo absorbed Kami, basically the regular Dragon Balls went inactive until they got Dende to reactivate them. So the new Dragon Balls, the Dragon Balls that we have, are a new set of Dragon Balls created by Dende himself when Kami got away. So by that logic, by Piccolo absorbing, Kami, that would have deactivated the regular Dragon Balls and the Black Star Dragon Balls, because who else would have created them? It would have deactivated them both, but the regular ones would have been reactivated by Dende, but the Black Star ones would have still been deactivated. They would have just been stones. So how did they get activated back up? Did Popo fill Dende in on this and reactivate them for no reason? Or they have this special abilities where they don't need that. It makes no sense. It should have been deactive since, Piccolo absorbed Kami, and since the regular Dragon Balls it happened to that, it should have happened to the Black Star ones. So that was also dumb. Also the fact that how does it have this much power to do all this? Like, it makes no sense. It's not consistent. So yeah, that was dumb. It was obviously just made. It was just pulled out of like I said, Toei's butt to simply make this new arc and to bring this new threat, which some people were okay with. Personally, I felt like it came out of nowhere and it was an ass pull of the highest order. Like, people like to dog on Dragon Ball's writing, saying, "Oh, this is a retcon," or "This came out of nowhere." And it was just like, this is a definitive retcon. This came literally out of nowhere. But I don't see anybody ever complaining about this one. So the Black Star Dragon Ball's concept was kind of dumb. I know a lot of people said that it put interest in it, but you could have done it in a better way than, having that. Also, the Earth being destroyed really wouldn't mean too much. All they would need to do is go to a different planet, get the regular Dragon Balls, or, just go to Namek and wish the planet back. They wouldn't need to go across the universe just to collect this. Yeah, you don't want the planet to be destroyed, but they've never really had that much of a problem with it anyway. They could just, bring it back with other Dragon Balls. Also, a lot of people like this arc for the fact that Piccolo made a sacrifice. So like, oh, finally a Dragon Ball character died, and it was like very impactful and meaningful. Piccolo dying, he went to hell and stuff. And yeah, you can say that, but also if you think about it, technically he shouldn't have need to get himself killed. He said he did this so the Black Star Dragon Balls wouldn't be used ever again because they're too dangerous. But like I said before, it shouldn't be active anyway in the first place. Second of all, if that was the case, they could have just destroyed them. I mean, they could have obliterated them. And some people might say, well, aren't the Dragon Balls like indestructible? No, it's not. Remember on Namek, Vegeta told Krillin to destroy the Namekian Dragon Balls, and he was about to do it until Guldo froze time. Also, we see in Dragon Ball Super them destroying the Super Dragon Balls when Zamasu, he destroyed them, so they can be destroyed, even ones that are planet size. So I highly doubt they couldn't be destroyed. They should have been deactivated. They could have been destroyed. They could have just, they could have done so many other stuff. The fact that he died for that, I get it, they were trying to make it impactful, but when you think about it logically, it was not necessary and it was kind of dumb. Also, him going directly to hell to guard hell is like, that also never made sense. We've had countless powerful beings in hell, like with Cell and, Vegeta, Frieza, and Boo, and hell never had a problem. I'm pretty sure once when they get sent to hell, their powers should be deactivated. If they weren't, then hell would have been rampant with a lot of powerful beings. But yeah, he didn't need to go to that. That was just to make it more emotional. So that was dumb. The whole adventure, like I said, it shouldn't really happen because the Black Star Dragon Balls as a whole never made any sense, and it felt like they were just trying to make it make sense just so it can happen. Also, I did not like the rip off of Dragon Ball to be like, oh look, see, we got the whole feeling and aesthetics of Dragon Ball, but it's like we're past that at this point. I know people love Dragon Ball, but people need to realize when to let go. We're past Dragon Ball, so you need to let go of stuff that we got from Dragon Ball, especially if they're just going to redo it in a lazy attempt and saying, hey, at least this time it's in space. That was kind of dumb. Also, the guy with the big ears, I forgot what his name was, he was also kind of weak. Then we had them breaking into the base, and they had guns and they're all hiding out. A lot of people give Super shit for the bad writing, which I accept and I agree, and I 100% I agree with that sentiment. But I feel like people give GT a lot of free passes for it too. Is like GT had bad power scaling too. I mean, the fact that Goku, Pan and Trunks were hiding from guys with just guns, especially Goku at this point, they stated that he and his base should be at least equivalent to Super Saiyan 3 Goku in the end of Z or stronger. So yeah, the fact that he is this much more powerful, but he's hiding from guns is just dumb. He could have taken them out. And then that giant robot thing, I didn't take that as a serious threat either. The fact that a giant robot can give them that much of a problem, I also felt that was kind of dumb. I didn't like that. Also, the fact they had connect through Piccolo from Hell and Dende from Earth just to do that connection stuff, just to destroy it. I felt like this thing was dumb. It just made no sense. To me, I was like, really? They're this weak that they're struggling to this creature? So I didn't like that. The whole arc of that The writing was bad. Everything was bad. The only thing I did like was the setup for the next arc, which was the baby arc. Now let's talk about the baby arc. This is one of the more highly appreciated arcs in GT. People usually say this and the Shadow Dragon arc was the only good things to come out of GT, or the only good arcs. And I do agree this is the best arc that they had, period. And I get the praise that people give for it because, you know, this time they had a villain that technically wasn't a villain. He was just, he got his race wiped out by the Saiyans, so he was trying to get payback. So I get that. But if you actually look at it, this arc was also not too great either. It had a lot of dumb moments. First, let's talk about Baby. Baby, he's kind of a cool character. I like the designs with him and Vegeta, and kind of the concepts of him being a parasite taking over the host's body. But let's be honest, he's not that original. He is kind of a mix-up of all three of the previous villains. He's a mix-up of Frieza for, you know, his hatred towards the Saiyans and the backstory of it. He has Cell because of, you know, how he was created. Even the scientist who created him was literally just a color-swapped Dr. Gero, and they even worked together. So that was also pretty much, you know, just Cell. And then him being a goopy being who's like, you know, very difficult and had all these crazy different abilities was also just like Boo. And I do like the fact that when he tried to evade Boo's body, he just spat him out. He's like, what the hell? So yeah, that he had cool designs, he had cool abilities, cool concepts with him. But a few things I do want to say that I had a problem with him. A lot of people say that he was more like sympathetic and you can understand him. Yeah, at first, but towards the ending, he became more of a generic villain. He went from creating this new planet and, you know, controlling all these humans, saying that they're the new Sufudijins. Now they're the new Sufudijins and they're a part of my race. And he was trying to build up his own race and, you know, punish the Saiyans for what they did. And then, once when he got more powerful, he started to wipe out some of the humans. And then they asked him, why are you doing this? They're your own people. He's like, I don't care. And that's when he went from kind of like a, I guess you could say, an anti-hero sympathetic villain to more of a generic villain. So yeah, they did have a good build-up with that, and he was more unique at first. But then he kind of fell apart and became just like every other villain we've seen in Dragon Ball. So I get giving him credit to a certain extent, but I think people give him a little too much credit because he did just turn back to that. Also, his plans weren't really that... I get the whole revenge stuff, but it doesn't make sense to punish people that did nothing wrong. And I get people saying this, but let's be honest, that's kind of a low bar to set. That's very low to be like, oh, he's very sympathetic. It's not that sympathetic when not only he wasn't even the part of the race he was created to be that, also he's killing the people again, so he doesn't even care. And the fact that his thing is, oh, I'm going to punch these guys that had nothing to do with it and have done more good than harm. It's just... to me, it was kind of a dumb thing with him. Also, the battles and stuff, it was pretty cool back and forth, but there was some dumb stuff here and there. The Golden Ape form, I guess it could be interesting, but I just didn't really care for the Golden Ape form. I felt it's kind of dumb that a Super Saiyan Ape would be that powerful. I mean, you're telling me a Super Saiyan Ape is stronger than Super Saiyan 3 Goku and stuff like that? That kind of felt dumb to me. I'd never liked that idea. Though, him turning him to, you know, Super Saiyan 4 Goku, that was fine, but the ape stuff I felt was kind of dumb, especially how powerful they are. And before I go further on to this arc, I do want to talk about General, I think his name is Rildo or whatever, the metal guy. Dumb character. I absolutely hated him. I felt like this character was terrible. They should have never made him. He was so lame. A lot of the stuff from the space stuff were lame. The only cool stuff that came out of it was Baby. Everything else was terrible. I hated everything else. He was one of those. And they stated that he was as strong as Majin Buu. I don't get how. Majin Buu was a magical being that was like had a goopy body that can, like, you know, instantly regenerate. This guy has metallic. He's literally just metal. He's like maybe like nanobots, but he's metal. How can a metal being be as powerful as somebody like Majin Buu? I didn't buy that. I felt that was dumb. And yeah, let's get back to the Baby stuff. Baby himself, like I said, he wasn't, his like characterization kind of fell apart more towards the ending of the arc itself, and you know, everything else. It didn't feel too unique. Super Saiyan 4, cool, but I do have a bit of a problem with Super Saiyan 4, which I will get into, but I want to talk about how Baby died. I think him getting blasted in the sun dying was kind of lame. I mean, those are kind of weak kills, especially at this point. If it was early on Dragon Ball Z, I'll be like, yeah, getting launched into the sun would kill you, but At this point, they should be way stronger than that. Goku saying nothing can survive the sun just showed to me how bad the power scaling of GT was and how weak their counterparts were. People always talk about the GT characters are stronger because they're in the future. They're them like 10 years older. Goku's base is equivalent to Super Saiyan 3. But then when we see the feats, they're far less impressive than what we've seen in Dragon Ball Z and even Dragon Ball. So the fact that he stated that, I always like cringed. I'm like, really? You're telling me that the sun can still kill you? That's pathetic. What's the point of getting all that powerful? You can destroy planets all the way back in early Dragon Ball Z. Now you can do way more than that, and still a star can kill you. It just felt pathetic to me. So that Super Saiyan 4, the problem for me was it doesn't make sense. If you see the description for Super Saiyan 4, it's stated that Super Saiyan 4 is basically the end of the Saiyan transformations because it fully utilizes all the energy in a Saiyan cells. It basically draws 100% of all the energy in every cell in a Saiyan and draws it out in the forefront. But if you guys also understand Super Saiyan 3 and how it works, that's exactly the same thing. Super Saiyan 3 was explained to us if you check in the games or check in any like the ones where they show you info. The way Super Saiyan 3 works is basically Super Saiyan 3 is when Goku went into it, the reason we saw the A form is it drew upon every bit of energy, every ounce of energy in his cells. So think of every bit of energy throughout his entire body comes out in full force in Super Saiyan 3. That's why there was a heavy energy decrease. That's why he would lose stamina very quick. That's why he couldn't maintain it, because it was basically using 100% of all of his power, like right there. So there was the problem with that. And that's why I felt like Super Saiyan 4 kind of doesn't make sense, because the fact that the description for Super Saiyan 4 is exactly the same for Super Saiyan 3. Super Saiyan 3, the point of it was, the form was to pull out 100% of all the energy you have in your body. And Super Saiyan 4 was to do the same. So that description for Super Saiyan 4 was kind of dumb for me, in my opinion. So I did not like that. I felt that was kind of dumb. Now, we had that. We go on over to the next arc. This was one of the shortest arcs and one of the dumbest too. This was also one of the rated as one of the worst arcs in all of Dragon Ball. I do think it's better than at least the Black Star Dragon Ball one, because at least it was quicker and it had some stuff entertaining about it. But as a whole, it was dumb. The fact that you mix two 17s together and you get the Super 17 that's able to match with Super Saiyan 4 Goku at this point doesn't make really much sense in power scaling how you would match them both. Second of all, the fact that I guess it was kind of cool that had Dr. Gero and the other doctor work together, but it's like you like I mentioned in the baby arc, they literally were ripping off the Cell Saga with that. And then putting them side by side just 100 further presented the fact that, yeah, they're just ripping that off. I did not like that scientist. I thought it was kind of dumb. Also, the betrayal from Dr. Gero to him. Or I think that guy betrayed Dr. Gero. And I was like, really? Dr. Gero got betrayed again? Which was kind of funny, but I was like, it was just dumb. The whole arc was stupid. The fights were unnecessary. And then we had, we had Krillin like trying to sacrifice his life and stuff, and that was all just dumb. I did not like that. The only thing I will say positive about that arc was Super 17's design. I think he looked badass. He was tall, he was muscular, he had great ass hair, he had a great ass fit. I loved getting his fit in the Xenoverse 2 game. It looked so cool, he looked dope. If I'm being honest, I think the design for Super 17 is far better than regular 17, and I feel like Toriyama should have used Super 17's design instead of 17's design. So, when we had the whole Android saga, I wish 17 looked like how he did in Super, because he looked, in his Super form, because he looked so badass. But besides that, it was kind of lame. I do like his absorption ability, where he can absorb it with like a energy barrier and disperse it out, so he doesn't absorb too much and explode. I also love that. I think that was cool, but everything else kind of dumb. Luckily, it was short. And then we also had hell breaking open and Goku having to fight Frieza and Cell, which they wouldn't be a challenge at all. Luckily, they were in a domain where he was more at a disadvantage. But yeah, I did not like that. And also, a lot of people say no, GT is canon, but here's the thing: if it was, then how come when hell broke loose, a bunch of movie characters came out of there. Cooler came out of there. I'm pretty sure Broly came out of there. I'm pretty sure some of the other ones from the movies, like Lord Slug and stuff, these were all characters from the movies. So this just shows it was non-canon, and it was kind of dumb. Though I do like how they handle Frieza in this one. He got one-shotted by Gohan in his base. I think that's how it should be. Or no, I think that was the dragon one. I think it was the movie. Yeah, never mind. This was just dumb. Everything in that was just dumb as hell. Then we get to the Shadow Dragons arc, which is considered to be the other great written arc in the story besides that. If I'm being honest, I don't know why this one gets so much praise. People say the concept of, the Dragon Balls BZ was mentioned by the Elder Kai, saying that you shouldn't be using the Dragon Balls for this. It has bad repercussions or whatever. And they went with this by saying, yeah, the problems with doing that now is basically they have a limit to how many wishes they get to use, and then it turns evil and stuff. And I want to get into that, but I do want to talk about the whole, what am I trying to say is, let's talk about the Dragon Balls itself and the concept. First, people saying that this is a smart idea. I get it for, once again, the fact that people wanted there to be stakes. And I get that logic, but you still have to do it logically. You have to still have good writing. This was not good writing. Let me explain to you what the problem with this whole Shadow Dragon stuff is. People saying that, well, he mentioned it. Elder Kai never stated anything of there's going to be a threat coming from it. All he stated is you shouldn't be using these, these magical orbs for something so trivial. He's basically saying that he was basically being a hard ass on the rules, saying, oh, these are the rules, you can't break them, this and that. He was not stating that if you use them, something bad is going to happen. The fact that they went with that as the concept is kind of dumb. It was a little throwaway line in Z that had no real importance, and then they made it a big deal. I know a lot of people love that idea, like, oh, that's cool that they're doing that. But for me, it just felt like that they were overdoing it, or they were desperate and they were grasping for anything to make as a concept. And I get if you like the idea of that, but for me, it's just kind of dumb, the fact that, that the logic of that was they would turn evil and let out these evil creatures. So that never made sense to me. The fact that he was just saying that you shouldn't use it, so that didn't make sense. Another thing that didn't make sense is, once again, just like with the Black Star Dragon Balls, this should have never happened. Why? Well, when they were deactivated because, Kami got absorbed by Piccolo and Dende came to make the new Dragon Balls, since these are new Dragon Balls, technically every wish that happened throughout the centuries or hundreds of years that people had been, wishing on this would have been technically erased and cleaned out. Why do I say this? Because the wishes that were wished upon the Dragon Balls before, those wishes were on the old Dragon Balls that were made by Kami. The newer ones, these ones were by Dende. So technically, every wish that was trying to fill it up to the brim of evil, would have been erased and would have started from zero. So technically, this would have happened later down the future with more wishes. So it would have been like a restart of sorts. So that didn't make sense to me either. Also, I do think it's kind of just dumb that they have a limit. If they did, why didn't, somebody like Kami say this? He created them, and there was such a big threat like this. He could have warned them a long time ago, like, hey, look, I know there's sometimes the Dragon Balls might have some purpose to use, but they do have a drawback. The fact that this was never stated, once again, it feels like BS writing, and it just feels like it came out of nowhere. This is what I don't like about writing when people retcon it. People are complaining about, oh, they retconned Vegito and his time limit. But I don't see anybody complaining about the fact that they literally retconned the Dragon Balls and how they work by making this evil concept with it. I also find it dumb that it does that. Also, it makes no sense that these Dragon Balls that create Shenron, who was weak enough to get destroyed by Demon King Piccolo, can create creatures from each of the Dragon Ball strong enough to either match with Super Saiyan 4 Goku or outright beat him. It created Sin Shenron, Nova Shenron, and Ice Shenron. How did it create these beings on this level of Super Saiyan 4? How did it create beings on that level of power when as a whole and Shenron as a whole is not even stronger than the Demon King Piccolo. How did the power become that great? That also never really made sense, how their power is that ridiculous. Now I'm talking about the concepts about the writing itself as a whole and how it's done, but there's more to it than just that's just the bad writing itself when it comes to the Black Star Dragon Balls for me personally. But there's more to it than just the writing itself that's a problem. There's also the fact that when you think about it, people always tend to focus on the later parts of this arc with Nova Shenron, Ice Shenron, and Sin Shenron, and then him turned to Omega Shenron. But they never focused on everything happened prior to this. Remember the rest of don't forget what happened in the rest of this arc. The rest of this arc was boring as hell. Most of the other Star Dragon creatures were weak as hell and lame as hell. That armadillo creature, that other thing, I forgot what they were even. Those were the only ones they remembered. Even in the games, those are the only ones that they bring up. Why? Because those other ones were fodder trash characters. Nobody gave a crap about it. Let's be honest. Those were some of the worst characters. Most of that arc, I think only 20 to 25% of the arc was enjoyable. The rest of it was trash. I mean, people who praise this, I think they tend to forget about what happened before it and only remember the ending part of how entertaining it was. But before that, it was very boring. A lot of the characters were bad. I didn't like the writing and stuff. Also, power scaling didn't make sense a lot. Goku struggling to lift up a city. Goku stuck in the dimension and getting stabbed by needles, getting hurt by a clock, getting his eye scratched by Ice Shenron. All this other stuff. Also, the fact that Goku was getting burned by, Nova Shenron's heat. He stated that my body is as hot as the surface of the sun, which is 6,000 degrees, which is not that really impressive compared to what we've seen, because lava itself is like 10,000 degrees. So lava is way hotter than that of the surface of the sun. So the fact that electricity, I think, is like, if you get hit by a lightning bolt, it's even more than that. At least like I think 5 times hotter than the surface of the sun. So the fact that he was getting hurt by the heat of the sun, the surface of the sun, which is only 6,000 degrees, is kind of pathetic. Yeah, he was able to handle it when he went Super Saiyan 4, but the fact that he had to go to his highest form to handle that heat is kind of pathetic, that he was struggling that. Nova Shenron and Ice Shenron shouldn't have been a threat. The heat and the cold should not be that much of a problem to Goku and them. So that I didn't like, though I do love Nova Shenron. I love his personality. His drawings is okay, but I think he's a great character. I think he's a really amazing character. I love the honor stuff. I do love also Ice Shenron and the differences between them two. One is like trying to be a noble warrior. The other one is just, I'm willing to do anything to win. So I'm a grimy ass villain. But I appreciate that and I respect that as an angle. So I like that. I like Sin Shenron and Omega Shenron when he evolves. He looks badass. I love his voice. The voice is badass. The character, not too much. He's kind of bland, meh. He's not that great. So yeah, him as a whole, he wasn't too great, but I do love his design. I do love his voice. I do love his attacks. He's just a cool character, and he does feel like a big main level threat in the ending. So I do like that too. I do think that part was good, but yeah, I feel like a lot of people forget the rest of the arc being trash and all the bad writing and bad power scaling, and they also, I think they forget the fact that, or when you look at it, it doesn't make sense for this saga to even have occurred. So that for me was kind of dumb. Though the ending I do like. I think it was interesting. It was very well. It was a definitive ending. Though it's kind of scummy that Goku completely left. It was bad enough that he left with Oob to train him, but the fact that now he leaves completely and his family alone is just, it was kind of trashy in my opinion. Though I do like the ending still. I felt it was kind of messed up that he did that. But to be honest, I think if they were to end Z, because I didn't like the ending of Z either, with them doing the 10-year time skip and then Oob coming in. I think they simply could have just ended it with the, I think this was only in the anime, but they could have ended it in the party scene, when Goku came late because he was attending to the dinosaurs. They could have ended off there. It could have been a nice sweet moment and just be like, hey, look, the future, anything can happen, but for right now, they're just in peace and they're enjoying their lives. You don't need to always like wrap up every story. Just sometimes, just leave it open-ended. I think that would have been better. But yeah, GT's ending, people love it. But personally, I have kind of love-hate relationship with it. I somewhat love it, but I also somewhat don't like it. But as a whole, I think it is at least interesting. Now, let's talk about GT as a whole. The first arc, absolutely boring, made no sense how it worked. Piccolo's sacrifice was completely dumb. A lot of the stuff in that was just dumb. I hated that one. The baby arc had some cool concept, but they kind of fell apart with him making him a sympathetic villain by just making him a generic villain afterwards. Also, I don't really remember a lot of that arc. A lot of the stuff was him just hopping from body to body, which wasn't that entertaining to me. I do love his designs. Him getting finished, the way he got finished off was kind of lame though. The next arc, the Super 17 arc, also trash. Luckily, it was short. It had a cool design, and that's it. The concept made no sense either. And then the Shadow Dragon arc. I can see why people enjoy this, but for me, I still think the concept is kind of dumb. It made no sense. Majority of it was trash because they had a lot of weak characters. The power scaling was terrible. The ending was a lot better though, and they had some good characters and some good stuff. But it was, like I said, only 20 to 25% of the Shadow Dragon arc was enjoyable. The rest of it was like, I would rather just skip and get to the Nova part and then just watch from there. But also the power scaling as a whole, terrible. People can shit on GT Super all they want, but don't sit there and act like GT has any better writing or any better power scaling, because the power scaling is just as bad in GT. And the power scaling problem with Super is the matchups, like who facing is who. They're very inconsistent about who would beat who and to what degree. Whereas GT, the problem was the power scaling itself was showing like the feats and stuff. It didn't make sense. It was like inconsistent back and forth. So that was the problem with that. As a whole, GT has some cool concepts. Super Saiyan 4 cool. I do think that it was the info about it, the explanation about it was kind of the same of Super Saiyan 3, basically making it make no sense, but it's still pretty cool. Also, let's talk about them making Goku a kid. This will be my final point and I'll end this video. But them making Goku a kid was literally the dumbest choice. I was so annoyed the entire time. I first thought of like, okay, maybe one arc I can handle it. Then they went throughout the entire show, he left him as a child. I was pissed. This is the 100% most dumbest idea. What the were they thinking? Were they stupid when they made this? First of all, they knew this idea was a jackass move because they made him turn into adult in Super Saiyan 4. The fact that they made him go an adult when he goes in transformation shows how stupid it was. Never ever make him a child again. That was dumb. His time came and passed as a child in Dragon Ball. The fact that they made him a child again was stupid. Also, they could have used the Dragon Balls, at least the Namekian ones, to wish him back to being an adult. I don't get the logic of keeping him a child. That was stupid. That was just dumb as shit. I hated that. Anybody who I don't think anybody liked it. Even people that love GT, people that absolutely love GT and will defend it, even people that say GT is better than Z, would never ever say that that was a great idea. That was the dumbest shit they ever did. Also, it's somehow, explain to me, how the hell is him going Super Saiyan 4 turn him from a kid to an adult? Not only how does it turn him to adult, but how does it give him these completely different clothes? He got new pants and all this other stuff he never wore before. Also, I know I said I was going to end it here, but not only was the child stuff stupid and pissed me off, but also the way they handled the other characters. They gave no other character shine. It was Goku time all the time. What they did with Vegeta was very stupid. For one, I did not like the mustache. I did not like the hair design. I did not like his clothes. I did not like the fact that he cared about what his daughter thought about how he looked. He's like, I don't look cool to my daughter. Like, really? That's not Vegeta. That's somebody else. Who the hell is this? This is some loser. I did not like that. I did not like he took all the time. And then Vegeta, the fact that he was so pathetic to the point where he was able to use a machine, willing to use a machine to get, to unlock new power, which normally he would never do that. People might say Super Vegeta is this and that, but at least Super Vegeta had, his one was just asking for like training. That is far more respectable to ask for training, even if he made a mockery of himself. It just shows how serious he was about the training and getting stronger. This one just shows how pathetic and desperate he is, and that he was willing to take a shortcut, which, let's be honest, Goku and Vegeta are characters that would never take a shortcut. If he was, he would have just let, Elder Kai basically unlock his potential. and Goku too. So I never liked that. I think GT as a whole, I think it's getting a little too much respect. When you actually look at it and actually analyze it, it's still trash. Once again, you can love it, you can say it's great, you can say it's better than GT, you can say it's better than Super, but don't say it's better than Dragon Ball Z. I've seen people say that. I'm like, are you mentally insane? You need to be locked up in some psych ward if you really think that it is not that good. But if you do like it, that's fine. I just felt like these stuff really pissed me off and why I would never watch GT ever again. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll try to upload more recently, more again. But I do have a couple of big projects coming in, so bye.